The Tengus are a clan of talented warriors, shunned by the humans, cast aside because of their ability to do evil, and known for their illusions. But their reputation will slowly grow into something more virtuous over several years. Does it remind you of something? The Uchiha, whose name means fan in Japanese, are based on what we call Tengus, yokai warriors that are half human and half bird, often associated with fans, which is the symbol of the Uchiha clan. They use bursts of wind with large fans to blow through the offense, control weather with ease thanks to their wits, fire in all of its shapes to burn huge forests, vicious illusions to misguide their enemy, and possession that they can use to pull the strings in their favor. They are known as elite warriors that even fine men will try to search to gain access to the magic, which they will most likely regret in the course of time, as we can see with Orochimaru being slashed down by Sasuke, Danzo punished for his mockery of the clan and robbery of their gifts, the Sharingan, and even Kakashi, who had to struck down Rin and lose everyone close to him just because Obito gave him a gift. Some of those Tengus are also represented with snakes or foxes by their side, which is the case of Izanagi, one of the most popular Tengus. He is often seen with fire, snakes, and a fox at his side. Masashi Kishimoto doesn't hesitate to show us directly or mention it by describing them by the term elite and genius from the mouths of his characters, showing many moves that are inspired by them, and of course, doing parallels to their reputation. Because although those Tengus were seen as genius, they are known as those people who failed to make it into Nirvana because of their attachment to their pride, in contrary to monks with which they share their outfits, two of them being the only reincarnation of the Rikudo. We can thus consider that the successful monks are characters who come from the Asura family branch, or a reincarnation of the Rikudo Senin. The Tengus have also been known to manipulate many people, including an emperor, which is reflected by the 4th Mizukage. They would even influence pure people like the monks, by disguising themselves as someone beneficial to their goals. It is then expected and understandable to see that the people didn't appreciate the Tengus, something we see again in Naruto. Their attachment to the ego and emotion, which was contrary to the values of shinobi, and on top of that, what happens when they lose semblance of their identity is what made them extremely dangerous to the eyes of anyone else, especially the Senjus, and amongst them, Tobirama will try most of his life to either kill them or put them under control. Tobirama!
わかった。そうチャクラを荒立てるな、兄貴。いや、すまんすまん。
But the more we advance in history, the more the Tengus are starting to get praised as beings more noble, which some of them do good actions for the people and are placed as statues in many temples. We can see that same kind of evolution with the Uchiha, thanks to Hashirama Senju, who respects Madara as his best friend, and even all the Uchihas benefit from that, like Kagami, Chisui, Itachi, and Obito, which were known to be good. And of course later, we have Sasuke, who grants peace to the world and works as the Shadow Hokage of the village. Speaking of Obito, his story is most likely based on one of the most popular stories about Tengus. A kid named Minamoto no Yoshitsune lost his family and everything else, but is quickly welcomed by a Tengu named Sojabo, who lives in the Mount Kurama. It is then that the kid gets to be trained by this Tengu to avenge his family, and in the process, making the reputation of the Tengu good again. In contrary to what happens in this story, there is nothing virtuous that results out of this training. Madara was indeed vile, and just like the Tengus we described before, he wasn't virtuous. Even using the 90th fox, named after the mountain Sojabo lived in, Kurama, many times against the Leaf village. The Sharingan is directly a response to the Buddhist values and Tengu lore. It's maybe the most important trait of the Uchiha clan, and that is why I wanted to address it at the end of the video. The manner in which the Sharingan evolves is very representative of what we need to avoid to gain access to Nirvana. Its power becomes greater each time the user loses something important to them, and for the last form, losing a loved one. As Tobirama said, what makes them stronger is love itself. This determination to hold on to the people they cherish is exactly what will lead them to never attain Nirvana. Because to attain it, we need to detach ourselves from everything, even ourselves. This is something that we will mostly see within the culmination of these pupils. Losing the people they love the most is what will trigger the final form of the Sharingan, always addressing the inner need these characters have. When it comes to Obito, he will be able to escape reality, since it is the thing he wishes for after realizing how cruel the world can be. When it comes to Shisui, he will be able to create peace wherever he wants, at the cost of his eye, discarding his own self for the greater good of humanity. His own goodwill will be doing the exact opposite of most of the Uchiha. Itachi fails to follow this exact sense of sacrifice. His need of covering reality with lies is what will be answered thanks to the Tsukuyomi without hiding his resentment against the system itself with the fire of the Amaterasu, which then creates a path for the unfathomable rage Sasuke carries. His need to burn the system down is fully answered by having the Amaterasu of his brother, but upgraded to be the manipulation of destruction incarnate, the Kagutsushi. And in contrary to his brother, he alone has the choice to stop this rage by being the only one able to cancel the Amaterasu flames. This power costs them their loved one, their own ego, and their body, but the solution comes as leaving this power to their legacy. A member of their own family suffering of the same curse will be saved by the sacrifice of their own ego. It is then that the Eien Mangekyo, or Eternal Mangekyo, appears, the purest form of the Sharingan, which is attained only by two members. We can see a semblance of reincarnation of their brothers in them, thanks to this gift. But even the power of the ultimate Sharingan pales against the power that is granted if a Uchiha sacrifices eyes. It is then that a semblance of Nirvana is really attained, even having the name of the two primary gods of Japanese mythology. Izanagi rewrites reality itself to fit a better conclusion, and Izanami seals someone's mind until he accepts his own ego as it is, something even Itachi understands as a corpse. His own blindness to his faults is what led Sasuke to be so corrupt, and it is maybe by accepting it that he can build something better. And of course, there is the last evolution, something even above this ultimate pupil, something attained at the gates of the outer world. When an Uchiha grasps death itself with the Eien Mangekyo, he gains access to the Nirvana for a short while, but just like a Tengu, he is unaccepted in this realm, because of the hold they have on their own ego, as you can see with both Madara and Sasuke. Therefore, they become beings who haunt the world of the living with the idea of bringing a twisted peace, which has been transferred to them as they are a reincarnation of the Rikudo. The Rikudo who failed at doing this exact same thing. And this same failure will repeat itself with Pain, Obito, and Madara, until Sasuke was guided by Naruto comes along. Thanks to this pupil, they acquire all sorts of new power which can make them seem like gods. And it is only at this final stage that we can finally see a fully fledged Tengu, first shown by Madara against the Kages, surpassing by far every other iteration of it we've seen before. The perfect Susanoo, capable of cutting chains of mountain in one cut, and with that comes their deepest need answered with a new ability. The Ame no Tejikara, which grants Sasuke the ability to switch places with anything he wants, answers a very specific need that he finally admits at the end of the story. For a long time now, all he ever wanted is to switch places with Naruto, having the same capacity to reunite people around him. It's the biggest flaw he has as a human being. Naruto's strength comes from being empathetic, taking into account what the opponent has lived through and build on top of it. Whereas Sasuke will burn everything that doesn't seem correct to him, even in the past. Every failure needed to be punished, reduced to ash, but the Rinnegan and fight with Naruto finally marks a slow development in his perspective on the world. When it comes to Madara, it's something rather ironic. Because of his environment, since he is a kid, he is quite afraid to be betrayed, and a consequence of that is that he develops a phobia of people standing behind him. This fear will be sadly reinforced by Tobirama, who won't hesitate to cast aside the Uchiha, and thus finally forging his one true weakness, his back. He will unfortunately use this same pain to inflict it into others. He will betray and profit from the lives of many people, as it is shown with Nagato and Obito, the whole organization of the Akatsuki, and even the conflict between the villages. So this exact fear will be answered by the Limbo. 4 exact clones of Madara protecting him at all sides, like a king's guard, making him quite confident in his abilities and feel like he's unbeatable, even challenging something that would kill him many times. But his same arrogance will be punished by an irony. Something he thought was his own mind is what will betray him and make him regret the path he carved into reality. His perspective on himself crumbling as he dies.